It is time to get the ball rolling with a very revealing new look inside the businesses of the Real Housewives. Now, so far, 67 women have been cast in Bravo's many Real Housewives shows. For some, we know it can be the golden ticket to fame and fortune, right? But as we have just learned, there are incredible risks. Divorces, bankruptcies. Youyoung Lee, who is an editor for the Huffington Post, just posted incredible new revelations, and she is with us tonight here in New York. So, Youyoung, I want to get right to this because you uncovered 3 huge revelations. We're going to count them down tonight. Firing it up at number 3, the risks of bankruptcy. It's pretty amazing to me. Already 12 housewives who have been cast on the show have now faced financial crisis, ultimately filing for bankruptcy. So, Youyoung, is that because they became a Real Housewives star, or is there really something bigger that was going on?
Right. I mean, it's difficult to tell. It's sort of like a chicken and an egg type question. Would they have already filed for bankruptcy had the spotlight not been on them? Or, you know, did the added celebrity sort of make them spend more money than they typically would? I'm guessing it's more towards the latter, but what's revealing is more the actual data that we have.
Well, I want to bring in Nicole Lapin. She's the founder of Recessionista.com. Nicole, I'm curious to get your insight on this. You're with me here in New York, and we're talking 18% of housewives filing for bankruptcy. That is a large percentage. How do you explain it?
And, you know, you don't have to be an economist to look at their income because they're going to have a pretty steady income, if any at all. And then you're going to have a big spike when the show happens. So it's kind of like the finances of a sports player. After that big spike, inevitably it's going to go down. So if you're not smart about it during that spike, which is what we're seeing a lot of from these women, you're really going to tumble down.
Yeah, and then, of course, there's a lot of spending, I imagine, going on to keep up appearances, Youyoung, wouldn't you say?
Right. I mean, you know, Teresa Giudice is kind of a great example from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. She reportedly makes $600,000 per season, but she just recently, 2 years ago, filed for, or I guess back in a couple of years ago, filed for an $11 million bankruptcy.
Wow.
So.
Fortunately, it's not all bad for all of them. It's only 18% filing for bankruptcy. We do have a lot of women cashing in from the show, and this takes us to number 2 in our Showbiz Countdown of the risks and rewards. The numbers are just mind-blowing here. 28 housewives have launched their own businesses after appearing on these shows. So, Youyoung, back to you on this. What's going on here? Are these the smartest business women ever, or are they just the luckiest, or is it sort of a combination?
Right. I think it actually all sort of initially changed with Bethany Frankel. She had already had her line of low-calorie drinks, Skinny Girl, and she went on the show and she really campaigned and got a lot of airtime and a lot of press time and sold it very successfully. So now actually what Bravo does is they actually take a small percentage of any product that is launched during the filming of the show. So, you know, with all this extra promotion and all this airtime, a lot of housewives sitting at home and the rest of America becoming familiar with these brands, it's only natural that these housewives would have their own businesses.
Yeah, it's always surprising to me when somebody doesn't take the kind of publicity that's generated from a show like this and cash in it, or at least attempt to. That takes us to number 1 on the Showbiz Countdown of the top 3 risks and rewards of being a Real Housewife. It's divorce, with a stunning 17 castmates ending their marriages. Now, Nicole, we talk a lot about the reality show curse. What do you think is going on particular to the housewives here? Is it because they have traded privacy for publicity, essentially?
Well, it's sad. It's not only privacy and publicity, but it's fame and money over family. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of, famous for being famous. AJ, you and I have talked about this before. And there are huge risks in that. And there's also the issue of art imitating life. And I think we can agree that this doesn't necessarily qualify as art per se. We can just call it the show imitating life. When it becomes to life imitating the show, you're right.
Yeah.
They get caught up with those appearances and then they can't sustain it.
And you just can't deny that risk of letting the cameras in and what that can do. Youyoung Lee, Nicole Lapin, thank you both so much.
Thank you.